If you've not, please do so, because it must be on record. I'm Bob Tanner. The other board members tonight are Scott Calhoun, Jacqueline Spry. I'd like to introduce our following members. We have Matthew Puz, Zoning and Development Officer. Over here, we have Denise Pizarro, Zoning and Development Secretary. We have Jeremy Toman, Board Solicitor, and Cecilia Mahana, Court Reporter. After the presentation by the appellant, the board will hear from those in question of the appeal, those in favor and those opposed. Any documents or evidence that is presented must be kept for a period of 60 days for our records, and after all the presentations are made, the board will recess. We will then reconvene and make our decisions. The board has 45 days to render a decision, but they're typically made this evening. If you do not care to wait for the decision, you may call the zoning office in the morning after 8:30. I'd now ask that everyone please stand to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please answer I do.
I do.
Thank you. Okay, we have two appeals on the agenda for tonight. First one is going to be appeal number 22-12, KDP East Liberty LLC, for vacant property located at West Ridge Road and Wegmans Drive, identified as tax parcel 33-042-230.1-001.01, asking for a variance to construct a second freestanding sign and height variance to construct the sign higher than permitted in the MU2 corridor mixed use district. Do you have anyone to present on that? Okay, I guess we're going to skip that one. Did you hear anything otherwise, Matt?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Is that a Starbucks representative that was supposed to present? Or was the,
Well, someone from KDP.
It would be, I believe that was the developer's architect.
oh,
And just to enter this in record, that on July 7, 2022, was the date of the letter that we sent them notifying them of the hearing.
Okay. Well, we'll move to appeal number 22-13, Dilly R. Bascota, sorry if I butchered that, for property located at 3133 Zook Road, asking for a variance for non-conforming change of use from an office to a retail establishment in the R1 single-family residential district. Do we have Mr. Bascota here or someone on his behalf? Okay. Please approach, state your name and address for the record. Tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do.
Okay, Douglas R. Wolf, 3133 Zook Road. Had the building since August of 2009. Operated an all-state agency there till May of 2020. Retired, and another all-state agent moved in May of 2020 to 2022, so it's been empty since May 1st. Had signs up to rent. Problem's going to be now is the zoning's been changed to residential. The office space is grandfathered in for office space only, and with this work-at-home epidemic that seems to be going on, it's going to create some problems as to what can go in there without having to go through a lot of hoops and so on and so forth. So I've had a lot of calls: sex toy store, beautician shop, lawyer. When I start bringing up the fees, if it's outside of an office relationship, they shy away from it immediately. But this particular young man has a store at 12th and French in a office plaza there. They want to put a hookah smoking shop in there with I believe those gambling poker machines. Hours of operation would be noon till 8. If you look around my neighborhood, there's a bowling alley across the street. They have BYOB beer. They're open pretty late hours during the season. There's a church across the street with a preschool that's commercial. There's a house next door that's got a beauty shop underneath it that's grandfathered in for a beauty shop from years ago. If you travel over to Bizarro's Ringside over at 32nd and Sterretania Road, they've got the gambling machines in there. There's a vape shop over at the corner in the Golden Walk Plaza there at 32nd and Pittsburgh. So these places are all around. I took a picture of the speed check at 32nd and Pittsburgh, although that's not Mill Creek. It's right on that corner. They have all the gambling machines in there. I went in to get lottery tickets yesterday, and there was like 6 machines, and people are in there doing their thing. So these are going to be everywhere. So the hours of operation, from what I can gather from Mr. Biscotti, is it's going to be from noon until 8, Monday through Saturday. That's about all I know about it.
Okay, Matt, you said a change in code. Was it formerly commercial and changed to residential, or was this always
Yes,
special exception?
excuse me.
Go ahead.
Prior to the enactment of the new zoning ordinance, which went into effect May 3rd, 2022, the property was zoned C2 general commercial.
Okay. And would this type of establishment be allowed in C2?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to say on that?
No.
Okay. Jackie, any questions, Scott?
Parking space wise, how many parking spaces are there?
5.
5?
Yes.
Does your potential tenant have any idea of how many spaces he
I
would
think
need
it's
there?
going
How
to be
many
more
cars?
of a come and go constant type of thing. I think with, I got eminent domain last year. They're going to take the front end of my property off there and put that turn lane in. They were supposed to do it this year, but it's going to be postponed till next year. It'll make traffic flow a lot more efficient, but it's still going to be heavy. And if you go there any time of the day around 4 o'clock, it's heavy-duty traffic any which way you want to go on Zook or 32nd Street. So, but currently there's 5 spots there. I was there for, like I said, 11 years, and the other Allstate agent was there for 2 beyond that. Prior to me being there, it was the Train City store for 30 years. So he had been there for quite a long time. It had been empty for a couple of years till I purchased the property. And I kind of term myself as the mayor of Mill Creek unofficially, because everybody knows who I am, and that property is in perfect condition. No one takes care of it the way that I take care of it. If you go by there, you can see what I'm talking about. So, but I do care about the property and will continue to do so.
Matt, could you speak to the parking spaces and what would actually be required for this type of establishment?
Yes, a retail establishment requires 1 space for every 300 square feet. The store, per the application, would be 1,600 square feet. For my parking calculation, it would be required 5 parking spaces.
In terms of the office use currently, I guess, what were the hours of operation, I guess, when it was operational?
8 to 5.
8 to 5, and that was just, what, Monday through Friday?
5 on Saturday, so it was open about 45 hours a week. That was mandated by Allstate.
Okay, so you said it was 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then also Saturday?
Correct.
Saturday from 12 to what?
12, let's say 9 to 1, let's say. I live there, so people
Okay.
just stop by all the time. I need an ID card or whatever, so I would stop mowing the grass and get them whatever they needed, but those are the posted hours.
Right, and then in terms of employees, how many employees do they typically have?
I think he said they'll have 3 altogether.
Okay, so and I'm assuming that Mr. Biscotta, he's the buyer, is it
Yes.
under contract to purchase?
Well, no purchase, it's just to rent the office.
Oh, just a rent, okay. All right,
I'll still live in the house, so I'll still be there.
okay.
Did you have other offers that came through?
Offers.
Not offers, but other potential tenants? You said the ones that
Yeah.
you said, so,
I don't know if they were
and
playing
how long
around
was
with me. A
it?
sex toy store was one. I
Yeah.
got a long phone call about that. Exercise studio, a lawyer. Sometimes the space was too big for one person. I was there by myself most of the time for the total time I work with Allstate. So it's 1,500 and some square feet is what's there currently. So, but beauty shops, but the infrastructure changes you got to make to it. I don't want to spend that kind of money to try and do that. Plus, they got scared away when they saw the $800 filing fee. They had to file to see if they could get the variance for the change from the office space to mercantile or whatever the case might be.
Thank you.
Getting back to the current use, how many employees were, I guess, when it was an Allstate agency?
Just me.
Just you?
Yep.
Okay. And then he's proposing to have 3 employees plus,
Including himself. 3
okay,
altogether.
including himself.
And there's no special, it's just straight retail, one parking spot per 300 square feet.
Correct.
Because with 3 employees and multiple gambling machines and multiple smoking setups, it seems like you would have quite a few more vehicles than that. But okay, we're gonna give public a chance to say a few. I'm sorry. If you have
I was
something
just gonna say, how many calls are you getting as far as tenants possibilities? I mean, if
Slow
this
down to a crawl.
request is denied.
Yeah, I was getting quite a bit when I first started. It's got a lot of traffic going through there. Have real estate friends that said, you want to list it. I said, you probably wouldn't get much more activity than what you're getting by just posting your signs because there's so much traffic that goes by there, so. But I think the biggest hurdle right now for office space is the work from home thing. It's 1,600 square feet roughly, or 1,500 some change, but it's I was getting $1,600 a month for rent at that spot, so that's might be a problem as well too. I may have to come down quite a bit in order to be able to rent the space. So I could go back in there, open up another agency if I wanted to, but I'm retired. I've been off for 2 years and I like it.
Sure.
So that's where I'm at currently.
Okay.
Mr. Tanner, if I may, before Mr. Wolf steps down, I do have a couple of questions on behalf of
sure.
the township. Lydia Caparosa with the Solicitor's Office for the township. Are you familiar with the application that Mr. Biscotta filed with the township?
I did not look at it, no.
Okay, so he's indicated to you that it would be only 6 days a week that the shop is open?
Yes.
His application has indicated that it'd be 7 days a week. But you're not aware of that?
No.
And that the hours would be from 10 until 8 p.m.
Okay.
Do you have any sense of how many customers he anticipates having on a daily basis? How many customers did you typically handle in a day? I know it depends.
Well, I had a book of business. I had probably 1,000 customers, but I'd say from the time that I started with Allstate till the end, people don't come into the office anymore. They do it all over the phone. Emails, whatever, so I was like the Maytag insurance guy. I was there by myself all the time. And that's how the insurance business is currently. So I had some traffic, but not very much.
Okay.
They'll have more, I'm assuming.
And you indicated earlier that the PennDOT, because they're doing a project in the area, did some eminent domain
Yes.
for your property. I'm going to show you a document that I'll mark as Exhibit A. Is that your property on the corner? Sorry. It's my first one of the year, you guys. It's,
Yep, that's it. Should have brought the glasses.
This is from PennDOT's proposed project in the area, just to give you a sense of what they're looking to do, and where the property's at. This is the corner one with the blue awning on it, correct?
Correct.
On the right-hand side.
But the eminent domain is going to be on the front part of the house. It's not going to be anywhere near the office space.
Yes, but then on the side where the office space at, there's a pink line. Are you aware that's gonna be sidewalks?
Yes.
And if you look at the map, it indicates, were you aware that a lot of the parking area is in the right-of-way?
Don't know that.
Okay. On the map, there indicates to be a line with the right-of-way right here, so that cuts
So
off,
you're saying
like right here.
the sidewalk's going to go through some of the
No,
parking
the
lot?
sidewalk is gonna go in the pink here, but
Okay.
the actual road could be widened to here,
Okay,
which would take away from some of the parking area.
okay.
Not that that's proposed, but that's
Yeah, but
potential.
that wasn't in the eminent domain. The eminent domain is up here.
I understand that, but your property line is here,
Okay,
not here.
okay.
So in theory, PennDOT could widen the road if they wanted to, and that would remove some of the additional parking that they have currently. They're not proposing to do that, but that's just one consideration, is that there is the right-of-way line that does run through a significant chunk of the
You're saying
parking.
that's the existing property line?
That's the
not-
existing property line. They haven't moved that, but that is currently where the right-of-way line is at, is the edge of the property.
Yeah, they've never said a thing about that, putting any sidewalks in there, at least to me anyways.
And you are correct, they're not doing the project this year, it's gonna be next year.
Good, less cost.
They're slow to move sometimes. Now, aside from the fact that the market has just not been ideal, there's nothing about the property physically that would prevent it from being used in an office fashion.
Some perfect condition.
And is Mr. Biscotta planning to sell anything else at the property?
That I don't know of. The operation they currently have is similar to what they want to put in here, it's just as bigger. They have about 600 square feet currently, so
Okay.
about 1,600.
Those are all the questions I have for you, Mr. Wolf.
In our, in the application, it calls for smoke shop, but you're saying it's a hookah establishment. I mean, that's a little bit different, so is it?
When I say smoke shop, I guess it's kind of a communal thing. I don't know anything about smoking hookah, but I guess it's a tobacco product. And they have one main area where they put the tobacco and people sit around in a circle and do the smoking. So
Okay.
if it was to get approved, they're going to have to go through a lot of things for me, like rabbit air systems for filtration, those kinds of things. So those aren't cheap. They're like $1,000 a pop, and I probably want 4 or 5 of them in there if it does get approved. So it'll be a lot of filtration things that will need to be done before we even get moving.
Okay.
And you mentioned you plan to continue to live
Yes,
in the residence.
And the lease, how long is the lease term?
3 years.
3 years.
They might go 5, but a minimum of 3.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give a chance for anyone else to
Okay,
speak
thank
from out
you.
there.
Thank you so much.
All right, anyone else would like to come up and speak? Make sure you state your name and address.
James Pollock, 3117 Zook.
So where are you in relation to this property?
3 houses to the north
Okay.
of Zook.
Thank you.
We're in the middle of the PennDOT abomination to that intersection. What they tell me is that the sidewalk on Zook is being moved 5 feet east, so we lose 5 feet. When I talked to the PennDOT representative, he thought it was going to be slightly more along 32nd. So one of the concerns I have, the problem for what PennDOT is proposing is due to the problems with traffic. My concern is this is going to generate more traffic in an area that's already congested. I haven't seen the maps, but I have no idea where you get 5 spaces. Usually with the train shop, there were like 2 spaces. But even with 5, you still have to be able to get in and out. I'm not sure logistically we're going to be able to handle the traffic. There's going to be less property when they put in the 3rd lanes on Zook and apparently a turning lane on 32nd Street. I think there should be some studies done to look at traffic and also to see what PennDOT is ultimately going to do. All I have to go on is what the PennDOT representative told me. They came to my property, showed me where they're taking 5 feet off the front and moving the sidewalk in 5 feet. The impression I got was that they're doing the same thing on 32nd. I don't know that there's enough space left for the houses, let alone a business. So somebody really needs to look into the space and what is actively planned by PennDOT.
Would it be, are you, would you consider yourself for or opposed to this?
Until this evening, I had no idea what was planned. I have to admit, I have no idea what a hookah shop is. To me, it's a pot shop. I don't know if we want to have that much traffic in a residential area. I don't know where there are 5 spaces. As I said, I did not see anything. Now, I understand, can I ask a question? You're taking out the tree, are you putting parking behind the house? Okay, so it's going over toward Evanston?
Hold on, I would have to have him come up to answer so that she can properly record it.
But no changes are being proposed, if I could speak on his behalf. There are 5 parking spaces there, so I don't think that there's any proposed changes of trees or anything like that.
Well, I've already been told by PennDOT they're taking down the tree.
Okay, there,
Maybe I'm wrong.
I have a
Are they?
photo.
You're wrong. No, I'm not taking the tree down.
Oh.
If they pay me for it, I can do what I want.
Okay.
I'm not taking the tree down. Nothing's gonna happen to 32nd Street side according to PennDOT. It's all gonna be right across the front of the house, of the building from the corner as we go down.
Yeah,
Mr. Wolf, if you could,
if you could,
yes,
up here.
step up to the
if you
podium.
could please step up to the podium and one at a time speak.
Yeah, when PennDOT came in to do their eminent domain, basically what they're told me was they're gonna take a 10-foot by 100-foot swath of my front yard. And that's gonna be the widest part of where the turn lane's gonna be, or the coming around from going 32nd Street north on Zook Road. They're gonna take about half of the driveway where I have a little building on the side of my house on the north side of my property, and there's a big tree behind it. They paid me for all that. They said you can do what you want with it. If you don't want to take the tree out to move the building back, that's up to you. So I'm not doing any of those things. So as far as that side of the building, nothing's gonna change other than if they put a sidewalk in there. That's, if they move it back because of the space that they're buying, that's what they're gonna do. But on the 32nd Street side, they never said a word about doing anything to the, shortening the parking lot, putting a sidewalk in there. That's not included in the plans or the payment that I received from PennDOT.
Okay. Thank you. And I can tell you that I have a photo of the property, and there are 5 striped spaces right now.
I'm sorry.
There are 5 striped spaces at the location right now, per the photo.
I'm just going by what PennDOT told me, and they said it was on Zook, 5 feet, and it was also on 32nd. I have no way of verifying what
Sure.
the gentleman from PennDOT, in fact, the first PennDOT person wasn't, I found out, PennDOT, but actually an appraiser. So I don't think, I can't validate what the appraiser told me as factual, but when I talked to the PennDOT representative, I was told on Zook, they're moving the sidewalk 5 feet east. Technically, it's 5 feet on the south end of my property, going down to 4 feet on the north end of the property.
If I could interject, I think we want to keep focusing on the appeal and what the impact is for his appeal request. We understand PennDOT's going to make some changes, but I don't think any of that's relevant.
They're doing nothing to
Yeah.
the 32nd Street side.
So,
It's gonna
I think Mr. Tanner asked, are you opposed to granting of this appeal as an opinion?
As I said, I didn't know what was going on until I got the notice about the hearing at this point, without knowing what PennDOT is doing, I can't say I'm for or against. I
Okay,
mean, I have never met this gentleman,
no problem.
or what, hi, how do you do?
He's the mayor.
I mean, I
Okay,
don't know that I'm thrilled about a pot shop in the corner, but I mean,
And just for clarification, I don't think it's a pot shop. It's just, I think what it is just a smoke, and what the application says, it's a retail space smoke shop, so.
what's hookah? That's pot,
It's not.
No, not necessarily, so.
not necessarily.
I mean, I don't
Legally,
know.
that's not-
I don't know what, I guess, a hookah entails, but I think that based on this, all it's saying is a retail space smoke shop. I'm not sure, where the hookah reference was made, and what that all entails. Obviously, to the extent that any business goes in, I mean, they're gonna have to comply with, all the municipal regulations, as well as state and federal, so.
A hookah is a water pipe used for smoking marijuana.
okay, we're not gonna get into that, because
And
if marijuana is illegal, then they obviously can't do that in that establishment, so.
Right, and again, that's coming from, not from the application, that reference, so, but we appreciate your concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else in the audience like to speak? No? Nothing else for you guys? Okay. We're gonna take a brief recess and
Was there anybody that, I guess, stepped in for KDP? East Liberty LLC? No?
Mr. Putz,
Okay.
did you receive anything back in the mail that was undeliverable, that they didn't get a copy of anything? Just on the off chance?
If I did, it would be with the application, and I do not have one.
All right, well, let the record reflect that there was no participation by the applicant KDP East Liberty LLC for purposes of appeal number 22-12. So I guess we're left with the application to render decision. Adjourn or recess for the deliberations. Anybody here to speak against or in opposition to appeal number 22-12? I see that there's other attendance. Okay, let the record reflect that no one's speaking in opposition.
We're still
Okay, let the record show at 7:25, we reconvened. On appeal number 22-12, KDP East Liberty LLC, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we table this appeal.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? None?
And point of clarification, table it for the next meeting.
Oh, may I interject, though? Who seconded it?
Nobody, I'll second it.
Sorry, it's been a couple. Appeal number 22-13, Dilly R. Bescoda, do I have a motion?
I'll motion that we deny the appeal.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
No, second.